basketball team. He's a forward for Ben Johnson's Ski-U-Mah squad. At Parker Fox 24 via Twitter. And a great job with Max pre and post. What are you enjoying about the opportunity? And good morning.
Good morning. This is a blast. Like I said, just growing up, listening to the station, every time I was in my dad's car, or, listening to Vikings games and you on the call, or Twins and, Timberwolves, all of that. It's a blast to just be a part of it. Meeting new people has been fun. And then just the energy, man. I think. Well,
that's great. I mean, it's like somebody asks you, okay, you got a scholarship to the U to play. Wow, you know what? Trevor Winter and Saad Abdul Khalik on the football field and Vincent Greer on the basketball court. No, let's just get your mind quick twitch because you're not going to come into a game against Zach Edey or Painter's team and not watch the All 10. Okay, so let's pretend the pre and or post work for you, Parker Fox, because it's new to you, is the verbal All 10. Yeah. What do you enjoy about it? What do you enjoy about the quick twitch with the opinions and the byplay back and forth and stuff like that? And good morning.
No, it's fun, man. I think just like I said, this is a new field for me. It's something new. When you're watching, you grow up watching First Take and, Stephen A. and these kind of guys, it's, you love these new opinions. And I think that's what makes it so fun. You got to have that controversy. You got to have that energy. And that's something that I'm learning and I'm trying to put out. Authentically. Yeah, no doubt. You can't make it out. It can't be fake. It can't be something that's forced because that's not sustainable.
So like on your Twitter at Parker Fox 24, if maybe you opined on this via the Howlin' with the Homies, the fan line show. So like when you wrote what that they need to do more offensively. I can't remember what it was.
I think what I said was I think they need to get the ball inside more.
No, here it is. Game 4, you tweeted the Wolves need to get high quality offensive looks.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's that's somebody who knows more about passing game and down screens and in cuts and free throw line extended. And if that's not there, look for the back door.
Yes.
Okay. So the all 22, the all 10.
Yeah.
Okay. So what more do they need to do to get high quality offensive looks? Because your opinion's respected.
Well, yeah, I had a buddy quote tweet it and say at Magic Johnson. So that brought me down a little bit, but no, I think sitting there in the media seats, you kind of get a different perspective up there, and I was blessed to be up there with my guy Max, and that was really fun. So, but no, I just think that the way Denver,
you're loving this,
yeah, man,
you're just like a child right now, just going all over the place, happy to be at the game, take the picture, put it on Twitter.
Man, I'm just living the life right now. The sun's out. It's 73 and sunny today.
You're golfing today?
I'm golfing.
That's good, man.
Rub it in Common Man's face a little bit. But no, man, I just think that the way Denver operates with their offense is it's so unique and fun to watch.
We're going to pause, cash thing around the corner, and much more with Parker Fox on Game 5 between the Wolves and the Nuggets this evening on KFAN.
The Fan, along with BigDeck.com, want to give you a chance to put $1,000 in your hand. Just go to KFAN.com for the National Cash Contest and use the keyword happy, and it would make you happy if you win $1,000. Again, KFAN.com. The keyword is in it.
Our Chris Finch interview. You're going to hear it back probably about 12, 13 minutes from now. And that'll walk us to the end of the show. But meanwhile, Parker Fox, who's analyzing basketball, assumedly for profit or profit of some sort, has been helping with the pre and the post with young Maxwell. And expect to hear more of that, talking about the Wolves and the Denver Nuggets. How are you handling, because Parker plays for the Golden Gophers basketball team, if people didn't know. So therefore, when I ask him, how are you handling negative fan reaction after these losses? It's almost like he's in studio in November or December and say you've lost 2 in a row. Yeah. And Parker Fox, forward for the. Are you power forward?
Yeah, power forward.
Yeah. I mean, everything's a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah,
I'm a power forward kind of guy. Like Kevin McHale, Kevin Love, power forwards. It's almost like, Parker Fox joins us now, and tough loss to Purdue last evening. How are you handling the negative fan reaction after these losses? But as a radio guy, how are you handling the negative fan reaction after these losses?
Well, we get a lot of it as Minnesota sports fans, don't we? It tends to be pretty prevalent in our lives. But no, I think as a sports fan, as a Minnesota fan, I have to kind of take a step back because I am a fan. It's fun to do this kind of stuff, and it's fun to have kind of insider information. But at the end of the day, I'm a fan. I've been a fan, as long as I can remember. Wally Zerbiak's jersey hanging up in my room. So
you seriously were in diapers when they went to the Western Conference Finals?
Yes, I was. Yeah, right. 2002. I was two and a half, 3 years old. So yeah, there you go. But no, I am a fan, and I got to kind of take that step back and realize we've gone through so many dog days of this Wolves team, and it's you can't be upset after losing 2 to the champs after we just got 2 of them.
Right.
So I'm trying to stay positive. Me and my man Max were just talking back there just about how we're trying to stay positive and realize that the Timberwolves haven't lost 3 in a row all year. I think that's something we got to remember.
Right, but they also hadn't. They were 10-0 after losing by 10 points or more. And then they got killed. It's just kind of like, this, man. I mean, if you make the NCAA tournament, NIT, like you guys were in last year, what'd you do? You won one and lost the next one?
Yep.
Did you beat or lose to Butler?
We beat Butler.
Yeah,
beat Butler, and then we ended up going to Indiana State. And
that was a pretty good squad.
Oh, my goodness.
Indiana State, Hick from French Lick, Larry Bird School, man.
They got the big old
Sycamores.
Yeah, they got the big old statue up front. You got his huge print of his jersey in the gym. And that was
a
pretty
cool experience.
Oh, it was. Yeah. It was. At Terre Haute, Indiana, small little town, and they packed that thing out, and they were ruthless, man. There were some people saying some stuff in the crowd that I couldn't believe. So,
what more do the Wolves need from Rudy Gobert in starting this evening?
Yeah, I saw some Rudy hate, and I didn't really love it because I think Rudy gives us, not only does he give us his defensive presence, but I think he anchors it in general. And I think the kind of teams bought into what Rudy has to say and do defensively, whether that's Jaden on ball or not on ball. I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker is the best ball screen defender I've ever seen, and especially when Jokic is setting those balls.
Geez.
And that's a big one. But he gets through ball screens and balls. I think the common listener doesn't understand how important it is to get through a ball screen.
Yep. Over or under, you mean?
Yes. Yeah. And the time of it. And I think I go back to my time playing college basketball here, and there's guys that didn't play because they couldn't get through ball screens. They couldn't figure out ball screen coverage, and that's something that I've seen him do at a high rate. So, and I think that stems from Rudy. I think it stems from PA's eyes are blinking out here.
Nordo just texted me that Gobert was fined $75,000 for another money sign gesture bit to a ref.
Yeah.
Wow.
I saw it, and me and Max saw it, and it was very quick. It was
Game 4. I didn't see
Game 4. Yep, Game 4. It was
Crazy.
It was right across the Nuggets bench, and it was just a really quick one. He threw that money sign, and I think they're not playing any games with that.
With all due respect, if it's possible to follow he's an idiot. Okay, if you think doing the money sign to this group of NBA officials is going to help you with calls,
nope.
You're out of your mind.
Yeah,
just look at Karl Anthony Towns. All the and all the complaining and histrionics buried him for years. Finch gets here. They fix it, kind of. Gets better at it. It's getting more calls.
Yeah, it's something that I struggled with too.
Thanks for that.
You want those calls, and it's as a player, it's like you feel like you're getting fouled, and then you feel like the refs are against you, and it feels like it's bottling up. But it's like you can't overflow, and you can't if you get vocal and if you stand a ref up, that's what refs hates the most. They don't want to be stood up. They as a ref shouldn't be too involved in the game. They should call the game as it is. They should keep their bias out of it. All that stuff, but the moment you start to stand refs up is where it goes wrong. And Rudy does this fine. It doesn't do anything.
Right.
That it doesn't help you get a call.
Yep.
It's only going to take money out of your pockets.
Yep. How does Jamal Murray go from the gimpy guard to high-end game changer in just a few days, and why can't we get a hold of him?
I think it's just, as a basketball player, it's a confidence thing. Obviously Jamal Murray he's a high level player. He's going to be, known as a guy that goes down as a really good scorer in our game. And I think it's just a confidence thing. He lost all his confidence. He lost all his swagger in game 2. We took it away from him, actually.
Great point, man.
I hate to say lost, because I want to give us credit for taking it away from him.
Great point, because I've been blaming it too much on the calf, and Jamal's high end. I've been a fan all of his career. But the confidence part, man, you're so right.
Yeah, and I think that's, as a basketball player, it's so huge. Like, imagine a free throw, right? All these guys, they're getting paid so many millions of dollars. You're not going to you shouldn't miss a free throw, but it's just a confidence thing.
Yeah.
And Jamal Murray is kind of exuding that confidence, and you saw that at Target Center. You saw the way, even hitting that half-court shot. That's just a confidence thing, man. Like, he knew that shot was going in because he was playing so confident. He let that thing fly. Yeah. He celebrated with Kevin Harlan there, at the half-court, and it's like, you're seeing a really confident player right now. Yeah. So the Wolves got to figure out how to take some of that away.
Lastly, 6:30 tonight. Yeah. What are you doing?
Caitlin Clark. I'm watching Caitlin too. I'm watching Caitlin Clark.
I'm excited about it, man.
I know, man.
Like, I didn't know the WNBA regular season was happening today until I jumped into the interweb machine, and I'm like, okay, well, Cheryl's team's at Seattle. I see a bunch of, hey, and this Caitlin, oh, wow. Yeah. It starts 6:30 ESPN2. Yeah. It's not, it is the Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun. Yeah. 9.3 out of every 10 people are like, it's Caitlin Clark.
Oh, no doubt.
I'm excited to watch her tonight.
Oh, I'm juiced. Yeah, and I think, I'm going to spend a lot of time this year watching Caitlin Clark, just, in general. It'll be fun to see. Obviously, you play high-level Division I basketball. It's tough competition, but now it becomes another beast. There's more size, there's more length, and when she gets in the paint, there's going to be really big girls in there, 6'8", 6'9" girls in there that she didn't face. So it's going to be a different beast. But I'm looking forward to seeing how it all works out, and I think she's going to turn into a little bit more of a facilitator too. Wow. Obviously, she's going to score her points, but I think her passing is something that's underrated. And Iowa, she's passing to girls that are good players, but now she's passing to Aaliyah Boston and some really good players.
Bro,
so.
I hadn't watched her one time until this year, and I watched like 6 of her games. And in the NCAA tournament, it's lastly, because we got the Finchy replay coming up. It's an extended conversation, but and maybe I brought it up to you last week. Like, from the minute you start playing basketball, no bounce passes in the key. Don't pick up your dribble on the baseline. Don't jump and then pass.
Yes.
And when I watched her make X amount of spin passes in the key where she's throwing her players open. So she's spinning it near the left block as they come from the right side, and it's right there for the reverse layup. I'm like, damn, look at that girl go.
Yeah, and that kind of takes some time to get used to, too. So, it might not be flawless right away. Her teammates might not be used to it right away, but I expect that team to kind of figure out how she plays and honestly go how she goes.
Yeah, you're the best, man. I appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah.
Loving our relationship on the radio, and maybe we'll do it again later in the week.
Hell yeah, always.
Right. Are you going to howl tonight?
Howl. We're howling with the homies tonight. Me and Max tune in and tune in to game 5. Awesome. We're excited, man. Let's go Wolves.
Yeah, you bring me joy, man. You inspire me. Thank you. Coming up next, Chris Finch, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, from an interview we handled earlier.
Fan. Final segment, 9 to noon, and also the wraps, 9 to noon, are always brought to you by the great people at Casey's, whether it's the pizza, it's the deal on medium fountain and frozen drinks, it's Casey's Rewards. Loving Casey's. Stop into a Casey's today. I can't wait. And for the final segment, 9 to noon, we end the show the way we started the show. Timberwolves head coach Chris Finch on a game day, nice enough to join and chat with PA. And one of the first questions he asked him as we get this thing rolling is, all right, refereeing crew tonight, it's Ed Malloy, it's Bill Kennedy, it's John Goebel. Any takes or tells or trends with this refereeing group, Coach?
No, not too much. It's a pretty good crew, pretty balanced crew, I believe. We haven't seen any of those officials so far in the 8 playoff games that we've done. I don't believe maybe we've seen 1 or 2 one time, but I don't think I've seen them, certainly not as a crew together.
Got it. So back to Sunday, 3.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. All right. And I'm in the arena and I'm watching the game, but I'm also watching you. And 3.5 to go in the third Sunday, you stood up on the wounded knee. What the heck? What the heck was that all about?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually stood up on the good knee. I just dragged the wounded knee along with it. Yeah, no, just trying to. Yeah, I thought, there was I can't remember exactly what the incident was, but still trying to make my presence known over top of that front row there, and I don't know if it was at the officials or at our guys or what it was, but it was a game. It was a difficult couple games for us at home. Of course, game 3, we just kind of laid an egg, and I've been very uncharacteristic of it. Denver was super motivated, very physical, took the game to us. We didn't really do a good job responding. Game 4, thought we looked like our old selves. We played well. We just had 2.5 minute stretches, one in the beginning of the second quarter, one the end of the second quarter, particularly the last 10 seconds, just kind of meltdowns. And you play in a team like Denver, they don't beat themselves. We talked about that coming into this series. And you can't afford to have those types of moments in the game. Like those things will really put you behind. And then they got up 10-12, and their shot making was incredible. So it was extremely hard to get back into the game. But I never felt like we were out of it. It felt like we could always, make a run, but they were able to just keep us at enough of arm's length.
Yep, and there's no doubt, but I think you're avoiding the A topic right here, and the fact that with 3.5 minutes to go in the third quarter, you perhaps were putting the wounded knee in peril, and then we were concerned for you, and I was wondering when you stood up and you leaned over the chair and stuff like that. Like, do the team doctors did Sheldon Burns get after you? Was he like, oh, that's too bad, Chris. How's the family?
They have warned me a few times. I've gotten my wrist slapped a few times about not being the most compliant patient.
Right.
But on the other hand, they've also been very pleased with where things are, and I've got the best care possible, man. We got unbelievable training staff, unbelievable medical staff. I mean, when you're able to access Mayo Clinic, it just doesn't get any better than that. And our Dr. Critch and Dr. Okoroha, our team ortho guys, just literally top drawer. And so I'm lucky. I'm not doing anything risky. I'm following their lead.
Yeah.
I'm able to put some weight on it, not all. So when you see me standing, it's generally I'm doing it in the right way possible.
Well, and you're going to get a home game, at least another home game Thursday. But it's apparent that you need, probably 3, 4, 5 more home games at least, because as we look at the outstretched right leg, it's clear there are a couple of primo seats that have been pilfered because of the right knee. and the owners, however that works out these days, they want the revenue from those seats.
Yeah, it is true. We have lost a seat or two, but those seats were for our staff. So if it was a revenue thing, they probably would have gone Ronnie Lott style and chopped off my leg. Trust me. So.
Lastly, and I think I know the answer to this, but I just want to hear what you say. So will the league let you roam the sideline using a crutch?
It's funny. I don't know. I mean, I would imagine they would.
Really?
I don't think there's never been language, or I've never seen language where you're not allowed to. I would imagine if they tried to keep me from doing it, we'd have some sort of ADA issue that they'd have to circumvent to try to prevent me from doing it. I mean, what if somebody is permanently handicapped and wants to be a coach? Wow. I can't understand why that would stop them from doing that. So,
right.
For me, I'm not comfortable enough being up and in a position to be able to get out of the way. Like that would be the hard part. The risk to be able to get out of the way of another such incident. And as far as sitting in a normal seat on the front row with my leg out, I would again be putting myself at risk, and maybe even players at risk of tripping over it. So that's really what it's about. Right now it's kind of continuing to be able to protect myself in a position where I could get, get out of the way.
But think about it. I mean, if you're roaming the sideline with a crutch and the league comes down on you and you come back with ADA, think about all the calls you'd get in the Western Conference Final. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, good point.
We got to unpack this seriously. This is NBA playoffs here. All right. Have you watched much of Dallas OKC? And if so, what do you think?
Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of that series. I didn't see a lot of last night's game, to be quite honest with you. We were a bit of a staff dinner outing last night, which was nice to enjoy some time with our guys. But it's, to me, it's like all these series are just so super hard fought. Matchups are interesting as you watch them unfold. Shea got early in the series. He was getting to the free throw line at a high level.
Yep.
Seems as that series has gone on, they figured out how to keep him off the free throw line a little bit more. Of course, Luka wasn't playing well in the beginning of that series. Wasn't making shots actually. So now he's playing a little bit better. It's just those games feel like they're games of runs. More than anything, it's like kind of if the game goes another 2 minutes, the other team probably wins it. It's kind of like that's how it feels to me. It's very, very, very close. So.
It's a loser's lament with your squad, and I know you're not into that. But seriously, I mean, that 8-0 run with 20 seconds before half, and Murray hits that thing from 60. I mean, that what were they like in the locker room after that uppercut?
Yeah, I mean, they were pretty down, but we regrouped and fought well, and then we came out. I thought our intensity and our purpose, our defense was really, really good to start. And Murray hits a step back three at the end of the shot clock, and Gordon hits a fadeaway at the end of the shot clock. They made some really tough shots at the end of the shot clock that kind of wouldn't allow us to cut into the lead. But I thought everything else we were doing was the right thing. It's just unfortunate that instead of being down 7, or 8, we were down 15.
Yep.
So, now it's a little harder. So we got to be better. That's what we talked about. I didn't think, we played on an even enough keel those 2 home games. I thought like our emotions were a little bit too all over the place. Whether it be maybe we were feeling too good about ourselves coming into the game 3 we kind of probably a little over amped for game 4. And you gotta have a zen about you in these games. You just have to weather the storm. This is a really, really, really good team, championship DNA. They're not going to beat themselves. They've been in these situations before where we necessarily haven't, but the recipe is game 1. Game 1 was, we got off to a good start. We took their punch. They took the lead. We traded back and forth, and then we played outstanding fourth quarter basketball. That's what you got to do to beat them. You're not going to beat them by 25 points every night. That's just not going to happen like what happened in game 2. But the interesting thing with all these series, when you look around the league, each game has a life of its own. Each game has its own personality. And then, of course, the series overall will take on a personality. But you can't expect what happened in one game to happen in another game.
What's gotten into Aaron Gordon? I mean, he's good, and he was a good passer with Orlando, and then they make that trade, and so Aaron can be an imposing presence, no doubt, but especially from 3, man. I mean, he's normally a 30% player. What's happening?
Yeah, I mean, saw a few go in. Probably putting the extra work in because they know they need him to make them. And when you were up 10, which they spent most of the time being up 10 or more, when they were in Minneapolis, those shots are easier to make. If you're up 3 or down 4, they're not as easy to make. There's game pressure, there's situational pressure.
Yeah.
And he's done a good job of also initiating their offense and just kind of doing whatever. He's the perfect fit next to Jokic, so he benefits greatly from that, whether it be passes in and around the basket and his shot. If his shot's going in from outside, then, that's an added bonus for them.
Yeah, that the Chris Finch, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, 9 to noon, 9:30 Central for the tip this evening on KFAN. It's Game 5 of the playoff series against the Nuggets, and Gordon, when he sets up in the corner, of course you know this, and they get it to Jokic in the key. You have that backdoor cut or alley-oop problem that has emerged, ever so occasionally. So are they putting Gobert in a weird man spot by the basket where he can't commit to the shooter because he's worried about Gordon or somebody else on the back cut for a dunk or an alley-oop?
Yeah, we've been we've been a little indecisive in our help defense at times, and we've kind of been freezing our own rotation. We got to be a little bit more aggressive. We got to be a little bit more sure. Rudy has a great sense of kind of timing, and we allow him to cat and mouse when he's in a help spot. But one thing I think we need to do is we got to be more committed and take out some of the kind of feel and guesswork, because it's kind of, like you said, it's kind of freezing our secondary rotations a little. So, and then you got to tip your hat. Jokic is a tough cover. He knew at some point he had to step up and take control of their offense. And everything always runs through him, but mostly as a facilitator, because that's how he's wired. He likes to pass first and then score, but he's changed his mindset. He's being more aggressive. He's forcing us to make these decisions that we got to do a little bit better job of making. We showed in Game 2 a better willingness to battle him before he caught the ball.
Right.
Right now, I think he's getting some touches that are too easy, so we got to do a better job of kind of trying to deny those and force everything out a little bit more. And when you have a player like that, all those tiny marginal gains mean everything. So,
Mike Malone, coach of the Nuggets, I know you respect him, but I also know you want to beat him. What makes Mike Malone a good coach?
Well, he's one of the best attention to detail, preparation, meticulous game plan guys. Everything's on point. I think he does a good job of injecting the emotion into his team. He's a pretty emotional guy himself. Of course, he's been with this team, this organization for a long time. So he certainly has the standing within that to be able to kind of go to the mat for his guys or go at his guys, he's done a really good job building relationships with the best player in the world, Jamal Murray, and all these guys that, you can tell they play hard for him. So there's a lot that goes into his success as a coach. But I know when it comes to putting together a game plan, he probably has the most fastidious game plans I've ever been around. Italics, bold, different colors, stats, this, da 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 da. There's no information in there that's not. There's no missing information in there. So it's a complete kind of deep dive into the opponent.
When Anthony Edwards says, "I just didn't have it" in terms of Friday night, is that Game 3? Is that recognizing, Chris, human nature gets to win sometimes, and these players, they're not machines?
Yeah, absolutely. Isn't it one of the things we love about Anthony is his truthfulness?
Yes.
And he didn't have it. You can see, and we didn't necessarily have it. And I think we spent that 3-day break was not good for us. We spent a lot of time, or let's say the world spent a lot of time patting ourselves on the back about how great we were and how we were going to sweep the series. Now, internally, and particularly the coaching staff, we never felt that. We always thought this was going to be a long series, and we know what type of team we're playing. We know their experience. So, but yeah, we didn't have it. We didn't. I don't know if it was like fatigue or just human nature or a combination of everything. But yeah, we didn't have it, and he said it. He owned it. And that's what leadership's all about. You got to own your own mistakes too. We all make them, and we're not perfect. And the best thing is you learn from them, and then you come out the next game. And by the way, you have 44. So,
yeah,
it's a great learning moment for a 22-year-old kid who's on the rise to be MVP caliber candidate. You couldn't ask for a better moment. And we might look back in a couple years when in the playoffs when he's learned from that situation and has a totally different mindset and approach, or can access a different reservoir of energy or preparation or whatever it is that he's figured out how to do. I mean, I remember when Anthony was young, not young, but when he was first in the league, he struggled in back-to-backs. It took him a year and a half to figure out how to play better in back-to-backs. So now, those things don't bother him at all. It's just, again, part of the cumulative learning experience of a young player. It's fun to watch.
How is it working with Micah and the whole operation now weighed into it?
It's working great. I mean, I've always said we have a great relationship. We think very, very similarly. It is frustrating. I don't, as a coach, I'm sure Kevin O'Connell will say the same, or any coach that you talk to. There are certain innate things you can go to right away in your brain where you want to, make an adjustment on the fly or communicate something or just go with something that you see or feel. I don't have the ability to do that. That's just, it is what it is. I trust Micah's ability to do it. But that's where I'm, a little bit more removed from the action. And that's just our reality. And so that's where I feel a little frustrated at times. Not that I feel like I would be doing a better job. It's just that experience to be able to react in the minute. That's kind of what's lost. But other than that, very proud of our staff. We have an incredible staff. I really do. I'm lucky. And our players have responded to this new situation, and you would never know. They're unfazed by it.
Last two, appreciate you. The Nuggets are they cherry picking guys to a certain extent, certain times of the game with those leak outs? I mean, and how can you make them pay?
Yeah, I think we've done a good job all season against that. They're one of the best cherry pick kind of opportunistic throw long. I mean, Jokic is elite at it, and honestly, Paul, those mostly happen when we got our head down for a moment because we were frustrated with something, and you can't have it. You just can't. You gotta have a next play mentality. You got to keep your head up, and just kind of inexcusable little lapses of immaturity, and you get exposed for them, and that's what happens at this level. That's what happens when you play a great team. And we've got to be better. We were great in games 1 and 2 against it. In games 3 and 4, not so much. But in games 3 and 4, we faced more frustration. So we can't allow that frustration to affect the next play.
Lastly, other than the obvious, Coach Finch, winning the game tonight, what is this evening about for you guys, the way the last two have gone?
I think it's about playing at a we've been very focused all postseason. I didn't necessarily like our focus the last two games. Not necessarily that we were, focus on game plan execution is what I'm talking about, not readiness to play, or we didn't have a high enough care factor. That was there, but game plan execution focus has to be high, and we got to stay on an even keel. Our mindset has to be like I said earlier, pretty zen. Stay in the moment. It's gonna be loud in there. They're gonna come out for a big start. We got to match it. We got to weather it. We got to do all these things, but we got to we're not going to beat a good team playing with a frantic mindset, which is what we've tried to do in games 3 and 4.
You, my friend, are the very best. Tear it up this evening, and we'll talk soon. Okay.
Hey, appreciate it, PA. Thanks so much. I'll see you again.
And likewise for those listening to 9 to noon, we will chat again soon when we rise and shine at 9 tomorrow, discussing hopefully a Timberwolves victory.
Good times. Scratching and surviving. Podcast today's Paul going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.